Okay, so getting cash for your business the same day you ask for it, that sounds pretty incredible, right? And it can be. But the real key is right there in that subtitle. Watch this first. In this explainer, we are breaking down exactly what instant microfunding is, who it's for, and the super critical details you gotta know before you even think about applying.
I mean, this quote right here, it just says it all, doesn't it? It's the rallying cry for every single freelancer, every gig worker, every small business owner who's been totally ghosted by a traditional bank. It's for anyone who's been told they're too new or too small, who finally found a solution that actually speaks their language. So let's dive into why this was even necessary in the first place.
You know, this whole thing really starts with the problem that millions of people are facing every single day. We're calling it the gig worker's dilemma. The hustle is real, and believe me, so is the cash crunch.
So let me ask you, does this sound familiar? You're out there grinding, you're making money, but then you hit a snag. Maybe it's a car repair, a slow month, or a golden opportunity to buy some inventory on the cheap. And when you turn to a bank for a little help, what do you get? Crickets. Nothing. A flat-out no. It is an incredibly frustrating and, honestly, a super common story.
And this is exactly why the old system just doesn't work for the new economy. Banks, you see, they're built for predictable, steady salaries and W-2s. As a gig worker, your income goes up and down, you don't have those traditional pay stubs, and you might not have 2 years of business history under your belt. To them, your hard-earned cash can look like, as one source put it, monopoly money. And the result of all that? This number, 14%. That is the shockingly low approval rate for small business loans at the big banks. Just let that sink in for a second. The system just wasn't built for you, the modern entrepreneur.
So, with this huge gap in the market, something had to change, right? Well, let's meet the rebel in this story, instant microfunding.
So what is instant microfunding really? Well, think of it as a financial tool designed for speed and, well, reality. It's basically a cash advance based on the revenue you're already making. It's not about your 5-year business plan. It's about solving a cash flow problem today. It's built for the Uber driver, the Etsy seller, the freelancer, people who measure their time in hours, not in fiscal quarters.
Okay, this is super important. We have to be crystal clear about what this is not. This is not some predatory payday loan that's designed to trap you in a cycle of debt. And it's not a long-term loan for a massive expansion. Think of it more like a short-term strategic tool. It's the gasoline to fuel your engine for a short burst, not a whole new engine itself.
And when you put it side by side with a traditional bank loan, wow. I mean, it is night and day. We're talking about waiting weeks versus just a few hours, a crazy high FICO score versus a focus on your actual revenue, years in business versus just a few months, and no collateral required. This isn't just a slightly better version of a bank loan, it's a completely different animal.
All right, now we're getting to the really important part. This is the Watch This First segment of our explainer. Because you know what? Fast money isn't always smart money if you don't go in with your eyes wide open. So, let's get brutally honest here. Good stuff? It's pretty obvious, right? Speed, accessibility, simplicity. But you have to weigh that against the bad. Yes, the cost is higher than a traditional loan. That's the price you pay for convenience and speed. And more importantly, the repayment is often through daily or weekly debits straight from your bank account, which can be a real strain if you're not ready for it. This is exactly why it's a tool for short-term strategic needs only.
And then there's the ugly. You absolutely have to know how to spot a predator. Any offer of guaranteed approval, that's a massive red flag. And never, ever, ever pay a fee before you get your money. If the terms are confusing or if they're hiding the real cost in the fine print, you walk away. The right funding partner empowers you. The wrong one will absolutely trap.
Okay, so you get the pros, you get the cons, and you know the red flags to look out for. So how do you actually see if you're a good fit for one of the legitimate options out there? Let's just walk through the simple steps to pre-qualify. You know, the actual qualification checklist is surprisingly straightforward. They're not asking for the moon here. They're basically looking for at least $3,000 a month in revenue going into a business checking account for at least 3 months. Now notice what's not on this list: a perfect credit score. And crucially, you can usually check if you're eligible without a hard credit pull that would ding your score. That's huge.
And the process itself? It's built for people who don't have a single second to waste. It's a quick online form, a secure way to link your bank to verify your income, so no digging for old tax returns. Then you get an instant offer with clear terms and boom, cash in your account. The entire system is built to move at the speed of your hustle. Look, instant microfunding is a really powerful tool, no doubt.
But it's not the only tool in the shed. A smart entrepreneur knows all their options. So let's look at the bigger picture and some alternatives to help you figure out your next move.
So it's definitely worth knowing about some of the other players out there. Kiva, for instance, is fantastic for community-backed 0% interest loans, but it's a much slower process. If you do most of your business through PayPal, their working capital option is pretty seamless. E-commerce brands should for sure look at Clearco. And Upstart can be a good option for a personal loan if you've got fair credit. The key is to know all the tools you have available. This right here, this might be the most important mindset shift you can make. You're not just borrowing to survive, you are borrowing to scale. This isn't about taking on debt. It's about using capital as leverage to create a much, much larger return.
And this is what that leverage actually looks like in the real world, right? A small $300 repair gets your car back on the road and restores your weekly income. A $5,000 loan lets you restock your inventory, which then leads to a massive jump in sales. Or upgrading your tools helps you finally land that bigger, higher-paying client. The whole point is to have a clear plan for how the money you get is going to make you more money.
So, we'll leave you with this thought. In today's economy, just standing still might be the biggest risk of all. You've seen the problem, you've seen the solution, and you've seen the path forward. The only question now is, what's your next move?